I was doom scrolling at work when I found the question. My subordinate keeps trying to seduce me. Should I fire her? I frowned. The description of her outfits and her routine. Why did it sound exactly like me? The next day, I wore my most basic soul-crushing corporate attire. White button-down, blue skirt. The question updated immediately. This woman is a master manipulator. Look at how sexy she dressed today. Patched with a picture of a generic outfit. That looked exactly like mine. The comments were confused me. What? I stared at the photo on my screen frozen. That was definitely my outfit. I clicked on his profile and started digging. From the beginning, his early posts were textbook finance. Bro stocks, crypto, grind set, motivational quotes I didn't understand. Then the tone shifted. There's a girl in the office. Eyes like sparkles. Always smiling at me when everyone else hides. What does it mean? The comments flooded in. She wants you, bro. Him. Company policy forbids office romance. Commenter, do you like her? Him. I don't have time for women. While others are dating, I study the blade. Women only slow down my draw speed. Commenter, alright, Sigma. Whatever you say. But then things got weird. The stock tips vanished. The updates about the subordinate took over. Yesterday's plea for help had over 5,000 upvotes. And thousands of comments. She's constantly provoking me. It's affecting my revenue stream. What do? The internet loves a train wreck. Fire her, he replied instantly. I am a principled leader. I don't fire people without cause. How is she provoking you? Give us the tea. He wrote a manifesto. Every Monday meeting. She dresses provocatively. She stares at me with those bright eyes while giving her report. I mentioned once that I minor in literature. Turns out she writes answers on Quora. My handle is Endless Summer. Her social handle is June. The internet paused. I was with you until the names. What does Endless Summer have to do with June? He replied within seconds. June is the gateway to summer. She named herself June because she wants to get into summer. She wants to get into me. It's a subliminal signal. Commenter, LOL. Okay, buddy. That's a reach. I sat back in my chair. I was starting to suspect the delusional poster was talking about me. My nickname in the workgroup chat was indeed June. Not because I wanted to enter anyone, but because I was born in June. I never paid attention to anyone else's handles. I didn't know who Endless Summer was. My main gig was being a corporate drone. My side hustle was writing online. Everyone knew that. I never exposed my pen name, and I definitely didn't stalk my coworkers. Online aliases. The internet has no chill. Oh, what do you mean she's provoking you? You're just hallucinating. Yeah, those usernames aren't even related. You're reaching, bro, LMAO. Op has already written a 300-episode romance. Drama in his head, and the girl is still on the opening credits. Poster wasn't having it. Then, explain why she tries so hard to perform for me in every meeting. The comments turned to pity. Is it possible? Just maybe she wants a raise? I sipped my coffee in the break room staring at the screen. I needed to know who this guy was. But first I had to confirm if the subordinate was actually me. The next day, I went full NPC. Basic white button-down, boring blue pencil skirt. It was a Monday, no scheduled meetings. But Sam, my direct supervisor, suddenly called a team huddle. 5 minutes after the meeting ended. The question updated. This woman is dangerous. She dressed so sexy today. I switched to my burner account. How sexy pics, or it didn't happen. In less than an hour, my comment had 1,000 likes. Verified the ratio. I was winning. To prove the haters wrong, the poster uploaded a picture. It was a stock photo of a white shirt and blue skirt. Commenters, the replies were a wall of confusion. He was typing furiously now, desperate to prove his point. You guys don't get it. She wore that just to see me. What else was I wearing? I typed back. Wore what? The internet followed my lead. We're curious now. What is it? This fit is basic corporate drone attire. Where's the sexy? Honestly, it's kind of frumpy. Op is down bad, the poster snapped the stockings. I'm a leg man. Okay? She wore them on purpose. She knows exactly what she's doing. Showing off those long straight legs and the tattoo on her ankle. A gardenia. It's lethal. Case closed. The subordinate was me. I have a gardenia tattoo on my right ankle. My name is Fallon and the gardenia is my signature flower. The comment section exploded. Guys, I'm trying not to laugh out loud at work. My face is cramping. OP is absolutely obsessed with her. Bookmark forwarding to my work bestie. This is tea. The poster started spiraling. Forget it. I can't explain it to you people. I don't like her. My focus is purely on revenue and growth. The top comment read, LMAO. If this guy was cremated, his mouth would be the only thing left because it's still so stubborn. I have 2 direct supervisors. One is Timothy, the operations lead. He's married pass. The other is Sam, the department head. Single. A strong possibility. Then there's the big boss, Alistair. He is devastatingly handsome, but he is a ruthless capitalist. Cold as liquid nitrogen. Rumors say he is allergic to women and only gets aroused by profit margins. Probability low. Logic dictates it has to be Sam. To confirm, I slid into the Poster's DMS using my burner account. Do you work at Nexus Tech? The reply was instant. How did you know? I looked up. I was standing by the printer, humming a breakup ballad. Oh, what kind of man are you? What kind of man? He was completely lost in his own vocal performance. He wasn't looking at his phone. Then Alistair. The thought hit me like a physical blow. I couldn't shake it. I had to rule him out. I downed a shot of vodka I kept stashed in the break room before I dared to knock on Alistair's door. He was reading a file framed by the dying sun. Gold-rimmed glasses rested on the bridge of his nose. The air in the room instantly changed the moment I stepped in. It smelled of expensive cedar and aged leather. A cold, sterile scent that screamed money and distance. Didn't look up immediately. His features were sharp, predatory, sculpted by a god who prioritized aesthetics over mercy. When his eyes finally flicked to me, the temperature in the room dropped below freezing. Abyssal dark, devoid of warmth. My stomach dropped. I instantly regretted this. A man like this doesn't shitpost on the internet about his feelings. But I was already inside the lion's den visit. His voice was a low rumble. It vibrated in the floorboards. The sheer weight of his presence made my palms sweat. I forced a plastic smile onto my face. There's a corporate outreach event on the platform. They want to invite you. Do you have time? He didn't blink. Bring the file here. He flipped through the papers I handed him. I stared at his hands, fingers like carved marble. Cold, elegant, a Patek Philippe wrapped around his wrist. They looked familiar. I'd seen hands like that on the Poster's profile. I closed my eyes and went for the kill. Sir, Alistair, what is your handle ID? I need to note it down for the organizers. He glanced at me, silent, stretched, suffocating and heavy. The Poster said his ID was Endless Summer. Alistair turned his monitor. He opened his profile page. I looked down, holding my breath until my lungs burned, waiting for the verdict. The name on the screen hit me like a physical blow. Alistair, just his real name, not Endless Summer. My lungs seized. I was running out of oxygen. The office was dead silent, eerily quiet because I was leaning in so close. Gravity did its job. A lock of my hair slipped from behind my ear. It drifted down and grazed the back of his hand. Sorry, sir. I scrambled back, apologizing frantically. Alistair didn't move. His lips pressed into a razor-thin line. His entire body went rigid. Every muscle in his forearm locked up. He looked physically repulsed by my touch. I was insane to think this man was the Poster. I fled his office. My legs felt like jelly. It was a close call, but at least I had eliminated Alistair as a suspect.
So, who is it?
I was still spiraling when my phone buzzed. Notification, the question updated. You guys said she doesn't like me. She just made a move. She came in for a pointless report and deliberately let her hair brush against my hand. This woman, her tactics are relentless. My pupils dilated. This wasn't a coincidence. The Poster is Alistair. Alistair thinks I'm trying to seduce him. I'm not. So that means he's interested in me. The thought hit my brain, and I immediately shook my head, trying to dislodge the water inside.
No way.
How could a tyrant like him catch feelings? Sure, he looks like a god, but he works like a machine. He was brutal to his employees, but lethal to himself. During the IPO year, he left the office at midnight and returned at 4 a.m. Even the security guards, ex-Marines, couldn't keep up with his stamina. There was a running joke in the office. If Alistair wanted to date, he'd have to carve that time out of his eating or shitting schedule. Because if he cut into his sleep schedule any further, he'd literally die. I glanced through the glass partition. He was working, expression stoic, phone cast aside. But the timing of that update was mathematically impossible to ignore. Didn't matter if the Poster was Alistair or not. I was going to test him. He claimed he didn't like the subordinate he was playing hard to get. Fine, I decided to give the internet a show. I logged back into my burner account and went for the jugular. In the comments, you're just an old, ugly creep fantasizing about your female subordinate. Because you can't get one in real life. The internet pivot was instant. True, we're all laughing, but the girl is actually in danger. She's out here grinding for a promotion. And this greasy boss is writing fanfiction about her. The vibe shifted fast. Everyone started attacking the Poster's appearance and vibe. Someone even posted a stock photo of a balding, sweaty middle-aged man. This is definitely what Op looks like. At first, the Poster tried to defend himself.
I'm szósty lutego.
I have an 8-pack.
I'm handsome.
Women chase me. The internet laughed in his face.
Haha, sure, Jan.
On TikTok, everyone is 6'2" and a billionaire. Oh, please. If the line of women chasing you went around the block, you wouldn't be here writing fanfiction about your subordinate. In it, checked Opie's post history.
Case closed.
He's a fake alpha, a LARPer. The roasting intensified. The comments turned vicious.
Disgusting.
This guy is probably a neckbeard. IRL. Imagine a girl dressing nice, and this creep thinking it's for him.
Goals.
The poster had no comeback. He was drowning in the hate. I imagine him on the other side of the screen, probably coughing up blood from rage. I decided to twist the knife. I sent him a DM. Do you want to prove yourself? He replied instantly.
How?
Post one of those transition videos that are trending. Show your body if you're hot. The hate stops. Simple silence.
Didn't reply.
His profile stayed dormant, but the comment section kept cooking him. The engagement was skyrocketing. I lay in bed silently, liking every negative comment scrolled until my eyes burned. It was deep into the night. Just as I was about to pass out, I grabbed my water cup for a sip to wake myself up. Suddenly, the timeline refreshed. A new video. I woke up instantly. My finger tapped the screen before my brain caught up. The video started in near total darkness. Could only make out a tall, broad silhouette. Then a sharp metallic shing sliced through the quiet audio. The beat dropped. The visual exploded. Warm, golden backlighting slammed into the frame, outlining him in a halo of heat. I couldn't see his face.
Camera didn't want me to.
It wanted me to look at the anatomy. The lens glided over a jawline sharp enough to cut glass. It tracked down the thick column of his throat, lingering on the sharp protrusion of his Adam's apple. As it bobbed, it swept over exquisite, deep-set collarbones. His hands gripped two glowing blades of light. His chest was broad, the muscles carved from stone. It wasn't just bulk. It was dense, functional muscle built from years of discipline. The lighting caught the texture of his skin, highlighting every ripple of his pecs, every vein tracking up his forearms. And there, nestled in the hollow of his left collarbone, revealed by the stark lighting, a single dark mole. It was a masterclass in stoic restraint and raw sex appeal.
Thud.
My grip went slack. My water cup hit the floor, water splashing over the wood. But I didn't hear it. The video was short. It ended with him executing a clean, sharp sword stance. The muscles in his back shifted like tectonic plates, under a white shirt that was now wet and clinging to his skin. Fade to black. I sat frozen in my bed. I was stunned in catatonia by the sheer, aggressive beauty of the male form. The comment section nuked itself. Holy shit. That body. That aura. You told me this was a creepy incel.
You apologize? Up.
I was unfamiliar with your game. Do you need a human ornament for your leg? Mom asked why I'm on my knees looking at my phone. It's because I'm looking at God. So, who is the subordinate? I need her name and location immediately. How is she surviving this? I didn't sleep. How could I? I spent the hours between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. cross-referencing the blurry pixelated mole on the screen with my memory of Alistair's collarbone. The evidence was circumstantial but damning. The endless summer handle. The timing of the updates. The obsession with my seduction tactics, which were just me existing. And now the mole. The specific, left-side collarbone beauty mark that I had glimpsed once, months ago, when he loosened his tie during a fire drill. I dragged myself out of bed at 7 a.m. I looked like a raccoon that had drowned in a garbage disposal, but my brain was buzzing with a chaotic, terrifying energy. My boss, the man who once fired a VP for using the wrong font on a slide deck, the man whose blood type was rumored to be liquid nitrogen, was an internet edgelord who studied the blade.
And he was obsessed with me.
I needed to be sure. I needed 100% confirmation. I needed to see the mole in high definition, live and in person. I dressed with military precision. If Alistair thought I was seducing him before, he had seen nothing yet. I chose a charcoal gray pencil skirt that was strictly professional but fit like a second skin, and a silk blouse in a soft cream color. The neckline was modest, but the fabric rippled like water. I walked into Nexus Tech like I owned the building. The office was buzzing. The sword guy video had gone viral on the platform overnight. People were huddled in cubicles, whispering. Did you see the traps on that guy? I heard he's actually a hedge fund manager. No way, that's a mercenary build. Look at the grip strength. I walked past Sam's desk. He was scrolling on his phone, looking confused. I ignored him and headed straight for the glass aquarium that was the CEO's office. Alistair was there. He was standing by the window, looking out at the city skyline, his hands clasped behind his back. The perfect picture of a corporate titan. I knocked. Enter, he said. His voice was steady, deep, and completely devoid of the hysteria present in his online persona. I stepped inside. The air conditioning was set to Arctic as usual. Sir, I said, my voice smooth. The quarterly projections for the Asia-Pacific expansion.
He turned.
God. He looked tired. Beautiful, but tired. There were faint shadows under those ice-cold eyes. He had clearly been up all night fighting for his life in the comment section. He was wearing a pristine white dress shirt, buttoned all the way to the top. The tie was knotted tight. Access denied. I couldn't see the collarbone. Leave it on the desk, he said, not making eye contact.
He was avoiding me.
He was nervous. Actually, sir, I stepped closer, clutching the file against my chest. There's a formatting error on page 3 I wanted to clarify. It's about this structural integrity. I walked around the desk. I was now inside his personal bubble. The scent of cedar and expensive soap hit me.
He stiffened.
I saw his Adam's apple bob, just like in the video. Fallon, he said, a warning tone in his voice. I can read the file myself. I just want to be thorough. I leaned over the desk to point at the paper. As I did, I accidentally let my hip bump against the mahogany. I hissed in mock pain.
Ow. His eyes snapped to me.
Are you injured? Just a cramp. I lied. I've been working out lately, trying to improve my stamina. His eyes widened a fraction. I saw the gears turning. He was mentally updating the thread right now. Subordinate mentions physical endurance. Is this a challenge? Does she know I train? Hydrate, he croaked. Muscle cramps are a sign of electrolyte imbalance. I will, I said softly. Then I went for the kill. It's a shame the thermostat is so low in here, sir. You look cold. I reached out. It was a gamble. A massive HR violation if I was wrong. I reached for his collar. Your tie is crooked.
I didn't fix the tie.
I brushed my thumb against the top button of his shirt. Alistair flinched like he'd been tossed. He grabbed my wrist. His grip was firm, his hand large and warm. The contact sent a jolt of electricity straight down my spine that had nothing to do with fear. We froze. He was staring at me, his pupils blown wide. Fallon, he breathed. Alistair. I whispered, dropping the sir. For a second, I thought he was going to kiss me. The air between us was thick enough to choke on. Then he released my wrist as if I burned him. Fix the error. Get out. I left the office, my heart hammering a techno beat against my ribs. I marched to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, and pulled out my phone. Update. 2 minutes ago. User. Endless summer. Topic. She touched me again. I am shaking. I am literally vibrating at a frequency that could shatter glass. She came into my office. She leaned over my desk. The geometry of her skirt was distracting. Then she reached for my throat. She tried to undress me. I stopped her, but the tactical restraint it took not to pull her over the desk and redacted for community guidelines.
Does she know?
She mentioned stamina. She knows I study the blade. She is testing my defenses. This is war.
Comments.
User 77. Bro, kiss her already. User 88. She tried to undress you? In the office?
Fake.
Endless summer. IT is not fake. Her fingers were on my button. I covered my mouth to stifle a scream laugh. It was him. It was absolutely him. Now the fun began. For the next week, I turned my life into a psychological thriller, and Alistair was the victim. If he wanted a femme fatale, I would give him one. If he wanted to believe I was a mastermind seductress plotting to enter his summer, who was I to deny him the fantasy?
Tuesday.
I wore a perfume that smelled of jasmine and vanilla. I walked past his office 5 times, ostensibly to the printer. The thread update. Olfactory warfare. She smells like a dream I had once. I cannot focus on the Q3 earnings. I have locked the door. Wednesday. I brought donuts to the break room. When he came in for his sad black coffee, I was eating a glazed ring. I licked the sugar off my thumb while maintaining eye contact. The thread update. She is mocking my discipline. The oral fixation is deliberate. She looked me in the eye. I retreated to the server room to meditate. Thursday. The big guns. I waited until the weekly all-hands meeting. Alistair was presenting a new initiative. He was in full CEO mode, terrifying, efficient, articulate. I sat in the front row. Every time he looked at me, I scribbled furiously in my notebook. What he thought I was writing. Notes on his brilliance. What I was actually writing, grocery list.
Eggs.
Milk. Why is he so hot when he yells at marketing? At the end of the meeting, asked a question. Sir, regarding the penetration of the new market, I said, putting just the slightest emphasis on the word. Do you think we have the thrust required to satisfy the demand? The room went silent. Sam choked on his water. Alistair stared at me. His ears turned a violent shade of pink that clashed beautifully with his stoic expression. We have the capital, he strangled out. And the manpower. Good, I smiled. I love a strong approach. The thread update that night broke the internet. Endless summer, she said thrust. She said satisfy. She did it in front of the board. I nearly drew my sword metaphorically. I am losing my mind. I bought a ring today.
Just to look at it.
I am not going to propose. That would be insane. But if I did, would a 4-carat emerald be too aggressive for subordinate I haven't technically dated? Top comment. Opie, you are down bad. You are in the Marianas Trench. The annual Nexus Tech Retreat was held at a luxury resort in Aspen. It was supposed to be for team building and strategic alignment. I knew it was going to be the season finale of the drama inside Alistair's head. The bus ride up was excruciating. I sat with my work bestie, Sarah, who was currently obsessed with the Endless Summer thread, having no idea it was about me. Look at this update, Sarah whispered, shoving her phone in my face. He says she's wearing a coat of crimson war. What does that even mean? I looked down at my red trench coat. It means he reads too much fantasy, Sarah. I hope she ruins him, Sarah sighed. Or marries him. I can't decide. We arrived at the lodge. It was obscene wealth on display. Timber beams, roaring fireplaces, chandeliers made of antlers. Alistair was already there, standing by the reception desk. He was wearing a cable knit sweater that made him look like a huggable Hemsworth brother. It was unfair.
He spotted me.
His eyes swept over my red coat. He physically recoiled, then straightened. Fallon. Sarah, he nodded. Room keys are being distributed by Sam. Thanks, boss, Sarah chirped. I lingered. Nice sweater, Alistair. It is wool, he replied intelligently. I can see that. It looks soft. It is scratchy, he countered. It provides no tactical advantage. It is purely aesthetic. Well, I lowered my voice. It's working. I walked away, leaving him staring at a potted plant like it held the secrets of the universe. That night was the mixer. Open bar. Bad idea. I was 3 glasses of champagne deep when Timothy, the operations lead, cornered me. Timothy was harmless but boring. He wanted to talk about NFTs. So, the blockchain is really about community, Timothy was saying. I was nodding, scanning the room for Alistair. He was in the corner, nursing a whiskey, surrounded by the board members. He looked miserable. Then, his eyes locked on Timothy. The shift was instantaneous. The predator woke up. He set his glass down. He excused himself from the board members. He began to walk toward us. It wasn't a walk, it was a prowl. Fallon. Alistair's voice was a low rumble. He ignored Timothy completely. Sir, I need your assistance. With a document. It's 9 p.m., Alistair, I said, feeling bold. And we're at a party. It is critical, he said. He was glaring at Timothy. If looks could decapitate, Timothy would be a rolling head on the floor. Timothy squeaked, I'll just go check the crypto markets. He fled. I looked up at Alistair. You scared him. He was boring you, Alistair said flatly. I could tell by the tilt of your head. You tilt your head to the left when you are dissociating. My breath hitched. He noticed that? And how do you know that? I observe my team, he said defensively. For efficiency.
Right.
Efficiency. Come with me. He led me out of the ballroom and onto the terrace. The air was freezing, the snow glowing blue in the moonlight. He took off his blazer and draped it over my shoulders. It engulfed me, warm and smelling of him. You're cold, he said. Thank you. We stood in silence for a moment. Why do you write? He asked suddenly. I froze.
What?
In your file. It says you minor in literature. You write answers online. He was fishing. He was desperate to bridge the gap between Endless Summer and June. I like stories, I said carefully. I like characters who think they're one thing, but are actually another. Like what? Like a villain who thinks he's the hero. Or a cold capitalist who's actually a romantic. Alistair gripped the stone railing of the balcony. His knuckles turned white. Romance is inefficient, he recited, but his voice lacked conviction. It introduces variable chaos into a stable system. Maybe you need some chaos, Alistair. I turned to face him. The moonlight hit his face, highlighting the sharp angles, the high cheekbones. He looked like a statue of a sorrowful angel. Fallon, he whispered. I am not good with people. I don't understand the signals. I read manuals. I study strategies. But with you.
He stopped.
He looked genuinely pained. With me? With you, I feel like I am standing on the edge of a cliff, and I want to jump. And it terrifies me. It was the most honest thing he had ever said. It wasn't Endless Summer, the persona. It was Alistair, the man. My heart melted. This idiot. This absolute buffoon. I loved him. Jump, I said softly. He looked at me, confusion warring with desire. What? Jump, Alistair.
He leaned in.
I tilted my head back. His lips were inches from mine. I could feel the heat radiating off him. Then, the glass door to the balcony slid open. Hey guys. It was Sam, drunk and holding a microphone. Karaoke time. Alistair, you're up. The moment shattered. Alistair pulled back, his mask slamming back into place. I must go, he said stiffly. I have a conference call. He fled. Again. I stood there, wearing his jacket, listening to Sam Butcher Don't Stop Believin'. I pulled out my phone. Update. 5 minutes ago. Endless summer. Topic. Failure. I had the shot. The target was acquired. The mood was set. I gave her my armor jacket. She told me to jump. I panicked. I froze. I am a coward. I am unworthy of the blade. I am unworthy of June. I should resign and live in a cave. I smiled. I typed a reply from my burner account. Comment from June_bug. Maybe she's waiting for you to stop studying the blade and start studying her. The next morning, Alistair was avoiding me like I was patient zero of a zombie plague. He sat at the far end of the breakfast table, wearing sunglasses indoors. I decided enough was enough. We needed a catalyst. The retreat schedule included outdoor activities. One of them was fencing. Of course it was. Alistair probably paid for the instructor himself. I signed up. When I walked into the gymnasium, Alistair was already there, suited up in white fencing gear. He was holding a foil, testing the flex. He looked magnificent. I didn't know you fenced, Fallon, he said, his voice tight.
I doble, I lead.
I had taken 2 classes in college. I was going to get destroyed. I will go easy on you, he said. Don't you dare. We put on our masks. The world narrowed to the mesh grid and him. En garde, the instructor yelled. Alistair moved like liquid. He lunged, a blur of white. I barely parried.
Clang. Good, he said.
But your stance is too wide.
He circled me.
You're distracted, I taunted. I am never distracted. Really? Not even by the tattoo? He froze mid-step. What tattoo? The gardenia. On my ankle. I saw his head dip down to look at my legs. Gotcha. I lunged. My foil tapped his chest. Point to me. Dead. I whispered. Alistair ripped his mask off. His hair was messy, his eyes wild. You cheated, he breathed. I used a distraction. Isn't that tactical? I took my mask off and shook my hair out. Or does the great endless summer only fight fair? Silence. Absolute, deafening silence. The other employees stopped watching. The instructor looked confused. Alistair dropped his sword. It clattered loudly on the floor. You know, he whispered. It wasn't a question. June is the gateway to summer, I quoted. And yes, Alistair. I want to get into summer. He looked like he was having a stroke. His mouth opened and closed. You saw the post. I saw the posts. All of them. The manifesto. The fanfiction. The video. He turned pale. The video. Nice form, I smirked. But you dropped your guard at the end. He covered his face with his hands. I have to leave the country. I have to change my name. I am moving to Nepal. Alistair, look at me. He peered through his fingers. I'm not firing you, I said. And I'm not reporting you to HR. Yet. I need to know one thing. Anything. In episode 45 of your mental drama, you said you were planning a grand romantic gesture involving a helicopter and a string quartet. Was that real? He lowered his hands. He looked sheepish. I put a deposit down on the helicopter. I laughed. I couldn't help it. It was the absurdity of it all. The ruthlessness, the blades, the crypto bro facade, all hiding a man who just wanted to fly a girl in a helicopter. Cancel the helicopter, I said. Okay. He looked crushed. Buy me a drink instead. A cheap one. At the airport bar before we fly back. He blinked. That is fiscally responsible. It's a date, Alistair.
A date.
He tested the word. Like romantic courtship?
Yes.
Unless you'd rather go study the blade? He kicked his fencing foil away. The blade is obsolete. The airport bar was terrible. It smelled of stale beer and popcorn. Alistair looked out of place in his bespoke suit, sitting on a sticky stool. So, he said, nursing a domestic light beer like it was poison. How long have you known? Since the white button-down photo. You posted a stock photo, Alistair. It had a watermark. He groaned. I was in a rush. I needed to prove a point to user 69. You fought with teenagers on the internet about my legs. They were disrespecting the aesthetic, he said seriously. I took a sip of my wine. You're ridiculous. I am a terrifying capitalist leader. You're sap. He looked at me, his eyes softening. I am fond of you. Extensively. I'm fond of you too, even if you are a weirdo. He reached out and took my hand. His thumb brushed over my knuckles. Does this mean I can stop posting? Please, I begged. Delete the account. But the followers, they need closure. Alistair.
Fine.
One last post. Update. 1 hour ago. Endless summer. Topic. Victory. The war is over. I have laid down my arms. The enemy captured me. She knows everything. She has seen the cringe, and she did not flee. We are currently consuming low-quality beverages in a transportation hub. She is holding my hand. Her skin is softer than I described in Chapter 12. I am retiring from the blade. I have a new mission, ensuring she never realizes she could do better. Goodbye, Internet. You were terrible, but you were right. Status. Thread locked. The office was quiet. I was working late on a report. The door opened. Alistair walked in. He was wearing a casual sweater, no tactical advantage. Ready to go? He asked. Just finishing up. He leaned against my desk. He picked up a pen and started twirling it, a habit he picked up recently. By the way, he said casually, I saw a question on Reddit today. I looked up sharply. Alistair.
No.
It wasn't me, he held up his hands. But someone asked, my boss is secretly dating me, but he won't let me drive his Aston Martin. Should I dump him? I narrowed my eyes. And I may have replied. Just a small comment. What did you say? He grinned, a real, devastating smile that made my toes curl. I said, the Aston Martin has a complex transmission system. Perhaps she should practice on the Porsche first. I threw a stress ball at him. He caught it with lightning reflexes. You're impossible. I'm yours, he said, walking around the desk to pull me out of my chair. He kissed me. It was better than the fanfiction. It was better than the sword video. It was messy and real and inefficient. Dinner, he murmured against my lips. Where? Taco Bell, he whispered seductively. You spoil me. I try. As we walked out of the office, hand in hand, my phone buzzed. Notification. Trending on Reddit. Update. My boyfriend let me drive the Porsche, and I scratched it. How do I fake my own death? I looked at Alistair. He was smiling at his phone. Alistair? It wasn't me, he lied. It was definitely him. I sighed. I was dating a shit poster. But he was my shit poster. And honestly, the drama was kind of fun.
Let's go home, I said.
I need to write a rebuttal. Bring it on, June. Try me, summer. We walked out into the cool night air, the endless summer finally beginning.